Hello, friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to Michelle Fondin Author Vlog. I don't even know what number this is, but today I'm going to talk to you about do not die with your music still in you. And that is a quote by Dr. Wayne W. Dyer. So I'm going to go into why I want to talk about this, why this has been working on me for the past several weeks, probably closer to 2 months, and how you can not die with your music still in you. So if you're interested, please do stay tuned. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for subscribing below. Click on the bell, scroll up to all for all notifications, and thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. I do tarot and astrology readings. You can book that at my website, michellefondinauthor.com. I am here with a brand new tumbler. This is a tumbler that was given to me by a friend for my birthday. As some of you know, I've had a recent birthday. I've been off of YouTube for the past several days, celebrating my birthday with family and friends. And I'm gonna read this to you because this is super pertinent to this video today. And friend, if you are watching this, you know who you are, and I wanna thank you for this beautiful tumbler. It says, I am a writer. Anything you say or do may be used in a story. And it's really interesting because the same day that this very friend gave me this tumbler, I was thinking, when I meet someone, when I have a boyfriend, that boyfriend is going to have to know that whatever happens might end up in a story or a vlog. And they have to be okay with that. So super funny, love coincidences and synchronicities. I've got my Ticino dandelion caramel nut tea. It's so good on this really cold winter's day. And it's not even winter yet, it's still fall, but pretty cold here. Okay, I'm gonna put this to the side and I wanna show you the reason for this video. So my very first book, The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, An Easy Guide to a Healthy Lifestyle, and this book, which is the companion workbook, The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda Companion Workbook. Some of you didn't even know that this existed if you've already read The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda. This is a companion workbook to The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, and we are going to talk about Dharma, life purpose, your righteous path, your virtuous duty to the world, your gifts, your talents, giving back to the world. In other words, the music that is inside of you and being able to share that music with the world. All right, this is super pertinent because Chapter 2 in The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda is all about Dharma or life purpose. And I want to share with you what I have been grappling with for the past couple of months. And this is kind of why I've had the slowdown of videos as well, because I've been really pondering this and trying to make some changes in my workflow, make some switches up in my workflow. And why that line by Dr. Dyer is like resonating with my heart, even though I heard that line first about 21 years ago. And when I heard it 21 years ago, it made sense. It makes even more sense to me today, 21 years later. For my entire life, my whole life, since I remember, I was probably about 8 years old when I had this desire, this deep driving desire. And as the Upanishads say, which are ancient Vedic, Indian Vedic texts, you are what your deepest driving desire is. And my deepest driving desire was to be a writer. My deepest driving desire was to be an author. And I knew this when I was 8 years old. I used to write poetry when I was 8 years old, and I continue to write. But I never had confidence enough in myself to make writing a career, even though I dipped in and out of it. I want to tell the story of how I got published because this is really pertinent, again, to what is happening today and why I've been having these visions, why I've been having these inklings as to what I need to do and where I need to go, because I feel if I don't, I will regret it for the rest of my life, and I might die with my music still in me. I had been writing for years. I started writing fiction, a lot of fiction. I had been writing stories, short stories, poems for years and years and years and years. When I started writing in earnest in my early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, I started writing fiction books for children. I wrote teen fiction. I started dabbling in a lot of different storylines, and I had written a couple of books, complete books that I never published. And I started writing shorter children's books as well. For about a year in 2005, I tried to get published. I had written to tons of agents and publishing houses to no avail. Nothing ever came of it. And then fast forward to 2014. So in 2013, I did a program with Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins, in other words. Some of you don't know him as Anthony Robbins, it's Tony Robbins, called Get the Edge. And I had been doing this program, and I made the decision, I'm going to write my book on Ayurveda, because I had been contemplating on that since 2008. So since 2008, since Ayurveda helped me to heal so much, I had been writing down jots and ideas for this book. I just never put it into written form as far as book format form. So I'd been writing this, I'd been keeping notes, I had Word documents, I had Apple Pages documents, all compiled in this folder that I really didn't do anything with for years and years and years and years. Between 2008 and 2013, I really did nothing with those jots, those ideas, those chapters even that I had written. I really didn't do anything with them. When I did the program Get the Edge in 2013, that's when I started writing The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda. And so I first self-published it in May of 2014 through the new program via Amazon called Create Space at the time. You used to pay a fee. You could pay for the book cover, the book formatting, and you paid this fee, and then you could publish your work on Amazon. That was really the only way that you could do it at the time. You couldn't just self-publish. You had to go through their Create Space program. It has since evolved, obviously. And at the time, I had hired a coach, a marketing coach, and it was through a group program. And he had worked with Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul. That was his marketing director. Jack Canfield was his client. Through this coaching program, I got Jack Canfield's book on 1001 Ways to Market Your Books, and I began reading it in the middle of the book. And this was May of 2014, and I learned that Book Expo America took place every single year at the time. I don't know if it's still the case, but every single year at the time during Memorial Day weekend. And I was reading this about a week out of Memorial Day weekend. It was in New York City. I was living in the Washington, D.C. area. New York City is about a 4-hour drive. Now, at the time, I barely had any money. I was scraping to get by. And already I had poured a lot of money into self-publishing this book. But I said, you know, for some reason, I feel compelled. I feel like I need to go to Book Expo America in New York. When I looked at the ticket prices, I said, holy crap, I cannot afford this ticket price and a hotel and food and gas and all the things that come with it. So I noticed that you could buy a one-day pass, and now the only day that I could arrange to drive there, be there, go, I had a yoga studio at the time. So the only day I could arrange to be there was on a Saturday. Saturday was the last day of Book Expo America out of 4 days. It was the last day, and it was only a half a day. So for the half a day ticket, it was $99. And I said, okay, I can swing $99. I'll leave at 5 a.m. I will get there 4 hours later. I will go into the Book Expo, and I'm going to meet publishing houses, distributors. I'm going to see what I can do. So there were a couple things I didn't know at the time. The first thing I did not know at the time is that authors don't typically go to Book Expo America to meet publishers to get their books published. It's an industry expo. So it is for publishing houses, distributors, marketing companies. So it's an industry standard expo. It's not really for authors to go looking around trying to get published. I didn't know that. The second thing was, on the last day of the expo, most of the vendors leave. They either left on Friday night or they were getting ready to leave Saturday morning. So I went to this expo with about half the number of vendors that were supposed to be there. And I truly did not know. I had talked to my coach prior and I said, look, Steve, what do I need to do? I'm going to this Book Expo America. I feel like I need to be there. I want to meet publishers and distributors, because that was the other problem. It was really difficult for a self-published author to distribute the book, to, in other words, get the book out there. And he said, well, meet with distributors and talk to publishers, but don't try to peddle your book. Just say, I'm a new author. I want to learn how to be the best book marketer of all time. Can you help me? What tips and advice can you give me? So that's what I did. I went into Book Expo America. There were only a few that were related to New Age, mind, body, health at the time. So of course, there's always Hay House, but I believe Hay House had even left by then. And there were a couple of publishing houses related to mind, body. And then there was a distributor related to mind, body. That was it. And so I had made my list of who was there. I made my list with the booths I was going to stop at, and then I made my pitch. So the first stop I made was actually to the distributor. And for the life of me, I can't remember what the distributor was called. I think it was like New Leaf or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And the representative there was at a table all by himself. And since he was all by himself, it was to my advantage because I picked his brain for 45 minutes. And he gave me tons of advice on putting books in consignment, which basically means that you go into crystal shops, bookstores, and you give them 5 copies and say, hey, if you sell these, then I'd like a profit share for this book. So basically, sometimes it's a 60-40, 50-50 deal. He gave me other advice on how to get them into catalogs. And then he said, you should probably go visit these 2 publishers. And so he gave me the name of one, which I can't remember. And he gave me the name of a second one, which is New World Library, which eventually became my publisher. So I visited the first table, the first New Age publisher, and I had a copy of my self-published book, it was called The Wheel of Healing, An Easy Guide to an Ayurvedic Lifestyle. So I handed him the book and I said, look, I'm looking for tips on book marketing. And he leafed the book and he said, this is a terrible book. There are so many mistakes, which there weren't, And so I felt very disheartened, really downtrodden. And I was like, oh. And I can't even remember what else he said to me. I just felt extremely discouraged from his first comments. And I went to the second booth that was recommended that I go to, and that was New World Library. And they were having quite a big event. They had an author there who was signing books. They had their marketing director next to the author signing books. And I walked over to the marketing director and I said, hey, my name is Michelle Fondin. I just self-published this book called The Wheel of Healing. Can you give me some tips on becoming a really good book marketer? And I thought, that's perfect. It's a head of marketing for New World Library. This should be perfect. And she said, well, maybe you need to talk to our editor-in-chief. And I was like, okay. She said, she's right over there. And so I walked over to the editor-in-chief and I said the exact same pitch that I've been saying to everybody else. I said, my name is Michelle Fondin. I self-published this book on Ayurveda. Here's the book. I was like taking it out of my bag and showing her the book. And I said, I'd like to know some tips maybe you could give me on a first-time author, a self-published author, on doing really well in book marketing. And so she leafed through the book and she said, are you looking for a publisher? And I was super taken back because I totally did not expect that. And I said, yes? Question mark? And she said, here's my card, send me your manuscript. And 6 weeks later, I had a book contract with New World Library for this book, So that is my story surrounding getting a book publishing contract, becoming a published author. And of course, New World Library also published Chakra Healing for Vibrant Energy. The other books I've self-published. But since I have been focused on many different things, including YouTube, I've not only been writing books, but at the time I was also running a yoga studio, which I ran until 2018. So I was really spreading myself very, very thin by doing many different things. So running a yoga studio, doing private yoga lessons, running different programs, doing meditation courses, doing perfect health Ayurvedic courses, and then transition to me living in California. I was not only writing books, publishing books, but I worked at Disney, and then I was also teaching yoga, and I was also doing courses and also doing YouTube. So for years and years and years, I've been a published author for 10 years to be exact, but I've also been spreading myself very, very thin. About 2.5 months ago, I took a writer's workshop with Hay House, which is a publisher that I've always wanted to be a part of as an author. And I took this writer's workshop and it really made me think. It made me think about what do I want to contribute to the world and what is the music that is still inside of me. And what it came to me was that the music that is still inside of me is that I want to dedicate all of my time to writing my books and marketing my books, whether that be through book signings, speaking engagements, whatever it happens to be, interviews, podcasts, all of that. And I've never allowed myself to do that. I've never allowed myself or trusted myself enough to be able to do that, to be a full-time author and do the things full-time authors do. So instead, because of fear of many things, including not having enough income, I've spread myself way too thin. I've had my hand in many different pots, if you will. And it's been really hard on me because I know what my calling is. I know what the music inside of me is telling me. The music inside of me is saying, you've still got 40 more books to write. What are you doing? And that is really what came to me in earnest a couple of months ago, especially doing that writer's workshop with Hay House, because it reminded me of my dreams. It reminded me of what my Dharma is, what I want to contribute to the world. Again, it is a hard pill to swallow when you are facing yourself and your failure to yourself to honor your own dreams, your failure to yourself to honor what is truly inside of you. And that was a huge wake-up call in the sense that on the outside, people might be looking in saying, you're already a published author. You are already successful. You have already fulfilled your dream of being a writer, being an author, being a published author. But for me, that isn't enough in the sense that I know that if I put all of my focus on writing and publishing and marketing and speaking about my books, that it will be more in the flow according to what I want to be doing rather than spreading myself thin for fear of not being able to make it in this world of publishing, if you will. So that has been something that I've been working through for the past 2 months, something that I have truly been coming home to this knowledge, to this tug, to this pull of where I feel that I am the most alive. And where I feel I am the most alive, of course, is in front of the camera talking to you guys. But it's usually when I'm in front of the camera talking to you guys about the material that is in the books that I've written. That's where I feel the most alive. And I feel the most alive when I'm writing. That is when I feel alive, is when I'm writing. Even on my days off, I want to write. Even on my birthday, I just wanted to write. It is all I want to do. Read and write. When you realize that music that is inside of you that needs to be played and to come out to play, you will recognize your Dharma. You will recognize your life path and purpose. And if you are sitting there watching this video or standing or doing whatever, listening to this video, and you know for certain that there is still music inside of you that needs to come out, that wants to come out, and that you know if you don't do it, you will have massive regrets later in life, please take a look at that. I had this recognition a couple of days ago in talking to someone. I'm going to do a follow-up video on this one, but I had a recognition in talking to someone a couple of days ago where I realized that if I switched focus from what I want to do, in other words, becoming the best author I could possibly become, which requires a tremendous amount of focus, that if I deter from that path, I will not be happy. And it's when you're faced with something you thought you wanted, it's when you're faced with something that might be a distraction from what you truly want, that's when it hits home the most, is when you're feeling inside, oh no, you will not detract me from living my life's dream. You will not detract me from living my Dharma, my life purpose, from letting the music that's inside of me come out to play. And that was an even stronger emphasis on the focus that is not only required to get to where I want to be, but also the focus that is needed to stay on my path. And it's scary, right? It's scary to say, I'm letting go of this thing, to really focus on what is the most important thing for me. But I would say to you, I don't care where you're at in life. I don't care what age you're at in life. It's never too late to start to focus on your life purpose. It's never too late to focus on your Dharma and that music that is inside of you, and to ultra focus on it. Because the other quote that Dr. Wayne Dyer always used to say, something about the half-lived life. He was talking about a story he first read when he was 19 and going away on the military. And it was his uncle that handed him this book. I think it's the something of Ivan Illich, The Life of Ivan Illich, The Life and Death of Ivan Illich. I don't know. Never read it. Just heard it from him. But it was something about like living the half-lived life, or the regret of living the half-lived life. And that is the other thing, is that even though I'm an author, even though I'm a published author, even though I've written and published 11 books, I feel that if I don't dedicate my entire life, and that doesn't mean I can't have friendships and relationships and family and whatnot, I'm talking about career path. If I don't dedicate my entire life to being an author, for me, it will be like living the half-lived life. And sometimes we fear that, right? We don't fear the half-lived life, we fear the opposite, where we do something we want, we do something we like, but we only do it halfway. We only do it halfway for fear that if we did it all the way, we would be taking too much risk. Things would just get too much out of control. And I'm here to tell you, please don't do things halfway. Do not do things halfway. You will see in the coming weeks, months, years, as I place my focus on being a full-time author, as I place my focus on realizing my own dreams and life purpose, that things work themselves out. They always do. They always do. When you're following your bliss, they always do. They always do. And I have a testament to that, right? When I went to Book Expo America with the full intention to talk to book publishers with my recently self-published book, I ended up receiving a book contract as a result of it. But I was following my bliss, right? At the time, I didn't go into it with fear. I didn't go into it with doubt. I went to it with, I'm gonna spend this money because I feel like there's something here. I feel like this could go somewhere, even though I didn't know exactly where it was gonna go. So when you follow your bliss, things always work themselves out. But don't die with your music still in you, and do not live the half-lived life. Because the half-lived life will still give you regret. So live fully, live your bliss, live your Dharma, your life purpose. Stick with me while I unfold mine, because I'm halfway there. I'm halfway there, and I just need to keep going and stay focused. But I would love for you to just look at your life and do exactly the same. Maybe not being a published author, but maybe you want to create something, build something, start a business. Maybe it is write a book for you. So I hope this was inspirational for you as I am going through my personal journey as an author and as someone who puts videos up on YouTube. I want to thank you so much for joining me today and having this conversation with me or listening to this conversation. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Click on the bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. Thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with others who might have aspirations and dreams that they would like to pursue. Thank you so much for your support of my YouTube channel. You can purchase one of my 11 published books. You could book a reading with me, and I will see you in the next video.